Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a little end of year recap on what I've been busy with in 2020. Obviously, we know that this year has been pretty intense for everybody with COVID-19 becoming a reality. So I'll chat and touch a little bit on that in a while because it is pertinent to the industry at large. What I want to do is just kind of walk you guys a little bit through my process, what we've been doing at the school, how the year has been, how the company has been, how everything has been structured, and where I failed, I think is quite important as well, and where I think I can improve. And I think it's also important to recognize that we're still in very early days here at the school, so things are growing. So right off the bat, I want to talk a little bit about the world of entertainment at large, and I want to talk a little bit about how now more than ever we're in a state where people are working from home, as we all know. And that means that employers have become a little bit more lax when it comes to demanding people to be in-house. And that's really interesting because on a global scale, we've never seen anything like this. People have always been hesitant to hire artists and work with artists remotely because they always felt like we needed to have that networking, instant speed connection and messaging that sometimes you can get in person, but it's kind of awkward over messengers or voice chat or whatever it might be. It makes it a little bit more awkward. It's almost as if treating everybody like a freelancer now, whereas before we would have everybody in-house and it would be pretty smooth. So it's been a learning transition for a lot of people. I've recently worked with a company where producers are having to juggle all of this new stuff, juggling people being employed, juggling bringing people in, getting them to sign new contracts, working with remote artists more than ever before. And it's been really interesting to see that and to recognize that this is the new reality, for a while at least. And I think from this year, through the intense experimentation that a lot of studios have been doing, they feel much more confident with this new system of allowing people to work remotely. So myself, I've been on projects where we are hiring people across the world, and it's been more frequent and more open now than ever before. Of course, depending on where the studio is based, the pay will be different, but generally speaking, the accessibility to this industry, I think, has never been greater. And what's really interesting is that there are a few industries that are immune from most shutdowns, most, let's call it pandemics, most economic recessions. Entertainment tends to be one of them. And the main reason is because when people are stuck inside, they want to watch Netflix. When they are depressed, they want to get a drink. This kind of stuff doesn't really go out of fashion. And I think entertainment has stood the test of time during this time because obviously we now have entertainment directly to us, right? We have the Netflix, the Hulus, the Showmax, everything, right, is now directly streamed to us. So we don't actually have to go anywhere during this time and actually still consume content. So from that point of view, these companies realize that, why stop the train? Why not double down? And they have been. There's been more production in the pipelines recently that I've seen and had my finger on the pulse than ever before, which is really, really amazing because it means that there's so much opportunity for you guys who are just starting out and want to break into the industry, or perhaps you're even in the industry and there's a lot more opportunity now. So if you're not seeing this kind of thing, if you're not hearing about this kind of thing, of course, that's a different discussion, right? Your work might not be there yet, or perhaps your networking skills need some work, right? So I'm not going to get into that. I just want to mention that now more than ever, employers need you. And that's a really, really positive thing. And I think it's going to continue into 2021. That's just my view of it. So that being said, I would say the overarching feel on that is that the market is hungry right now. It's hungry for talent. It's looking for different types of talent. And if you show up and you bring the right stuff, you're going to be in a really good place. Okay, so yay, us, right? Fantastic. Art is succeeding right now. Fantastic. Okay, so, and it's thriving, actually, I would say. So then I want to say that as a part of what I touched on earlier, we're now in a global accessible market. Keep that in mind. And now I want to touch very, very briefly on something that I might come back to later. As I mentioned, things I'll be doing next year, but there has been a trend that I've chatted to a number of artists. If you guys have been watching my YouTube channel, you've probably come across this subject before. But if you're not aware of it, I believe, and other artists believe, that we as artists are becoming more independent and we're becoming more branded. Yes, you can go work for a company and be a number. absolutely, you can just go work on character designs or environment or whatever you might be doing as a visual artist. But I do believe that the work you do in your spare time and what you show the world is now becoming brands. And I see a lot of successful artists who are not even posting professional work, who are just posting personal work, getting hired by companies to work on big films, big animations, games, etc. So that's a trend I don't see going anywhere, and I just see it expanding. And I want to make you guys aware of it, because if you go to the Instagrams, the ArtStations, just be aware and ask yourself the question, what is this artist who I admire? What is their brand? And is that something they love to do? Chances are it is. So don't be afraid to do exactly that, to really follow your passion. But if you do, I would say do it very, very well, and do a lot of it and get very, very good at it, okay? If you're just starting out and trying to break into the industry, maybe not the best idea, but a little bit later on, as you develop your career, this is something you want to be thinking about. Branding is very powerful now, to the point where I see some freelancing artists who don't even have to look for work. The work finds them, and it's aplenty. They actually get to pick their jobs, which of course, as an independent artist, is like, you know, the holy grail. So I want to chat now a little bit about the school. So my journey with the school, 101artschool.com, has been pretty intense, I gotta tell you guys. I started this about 2 years ago when I was working in-house for an animation studio. I was working on a film as a production designer, and I started testing out a short course because I noticed that there were artists who needed this work, and they needed the fundamentals, and they needed it to be accessible. And unfortunately, the fundamentals can only be learned at very high-end schools that cost an absolute fortune to get into. And I thought, this is wrong. This is messed up. So I started a little trial, a little 4-week program. And when people went through the 4-week program, they loved it so much, they wanted me to expand on it. So I did. I made it an 8-week program. And pretty soon, it occurred to me that there was a business opportunity here, and there was a way for me to give back to the community and to make something that hasn't been done before, and could potentially empower artists like never before. So essentially I thought to myself, okay, I have about 10 years of experience in the concept department of this world of animation and video games. Surely I can put something together, a long form program that mimics some of the higher end schools and takes a lot of the information that they're teaching, and I'm making it more accessible to people around the world who want to get into this business but don't have access to that high-end education, right? And obviously by doing it over the internet, it could work. So 2 years ago, I had no idea that coronavirus was going to come and that it was going to be a thing. And weirdly enough, it's actually benefited my school because we're online, we don't have physical location. It's been very easy for me to mention that to would-be prospect students, and they're actually super into it because they're stuck at home, or they can't continue with their university degree, or they hate their dead-end job, which is demanding of them now more than ever, or perhaps it's gone underground because of COVID. So a lot of people have been interested in the school from that point of view, but ultimately, let me just share with you guys, one of the really frustrating things about starting your own business, especially if it's a product, is that no matter how good you make that product, and I spent 1.5 years making my product as amazing as I could, if people don't know about you, it's pointless, right? They don't show up. It's essentially, obscurity is your biggest enemy when you start something really big. And so I've really struggled with that. I'm not exactly the world's biggest extrovert. I haven't really known how to reach people. I haven't had massive social networks that I tap into. I'm actually more of a quiet artist. I have been for forever. So I've had to step into this new role of just being a bit more out there, a bit more public, starting the YouTube channel, working some collaborations with some friends on Instagram. All of that stuff has been kind of on the side, and it's been something I've just been playing with to see what it feels like and to see where I can take it with the school, because I realize that by positioning myself in the marketplace and being visible to everybody, including you guys right now, is really important for you guys to know what I do and why it's so incredible, right? So that being said, the school launched in about May this year, and I had already been working on it for over a year. So May, June, I launched the school, and I ran into some pretty huge problems. At first, I couldn't monetize the school because PayPal services were down because of COVID. I couldn't contact anyone. It was a total nightmare, but I managed to sort it out by using a different payment portal. So once that was done, I started to bring more students in, that kind of thing. Very, very raw. I haven't been expanding my marketing in a big way yet. That's actually coming. But that's where I started and what I did. Okay, so the good news is, out of all of that, typically speaking, a new company, no matter what field you're in, if you're an entrepreneur, you'll be lucky to break even after 3 years. That's a typical algorithmic math that people have put together, and I've heard it from multiple sources. I've read it, and that's pretty much the statistic, right? If you don't do that, then you probably crumble, right? Your company fails. So in the first year of launching, 101 Art School has been profitable, which is absolutely amazing. I didn't expect it. I did work for it, mind you. I did work very hard, but I wasn't expecting to turn a profit this year. And it's been amazing because you guys have been supporting me in trying to build this thing and actually surviving on my own. Because yes, I've taken jobs this year in order to fund the school as well and stay alive, right? Because I have rent and stuff and all that stuff that you guys have, right? I've had to deal with that as well. So I've been kind of juggling this year quite a bit. And my focus for next year will be doing less of that juggling. Maybe not initially. The first part of the year I will be working on other projects, but I will be focusing on the school for the rest of the year solely, mainly on marketing and business expansion. In fact, the whole theme of next year for me is 101 Art School expansion, right? So that means a lot of things that I had promised early students that I wasn't able to deliver this year, but next year it's already in the works, right? It's already going to happen. And everyone who attends the school is going to have a backlog of things to absorb, right? New content, which is going to be amazing. So you guys can expect, seeing more workshops, seeing more visual development, a lot more YouTube channels, a lot more tutorials from me, and other guests that I'm bringing in. I've got about 3 guests lined up already. I would like to do a minimum of 4 guest workshops coming in every single year. But if we do more than that, awesome, right? But that's not entirely up to me. If it was, I would have 100 people do it, right? It would be amazing. But unfortunately, it's tied to the capital that's in the company, right? When you guys pay for your courses, amen, thank you, you help me survive, but you're also building a school. And the cool thing about that is that when there's money in the school, I can pay other artists to come in and do workshops. And it's not like I don't have the network. I have an incredible network of friends and stuff, but I feel like I need to pay them fairly, obviously, right, for their time. I mean, they love me, which is great. Thank you guys for everyone who's really helped me this year. But obviously, I need to treat these artists like professionals, like they are, and pay them really well so that they can come in and deliver the ultimate value for you guys, right? I need there to be that high quality stuff that I've been promising you from day one, and I've delivered on it. I just want other people to deliver on it too, and that's really, really important to me. So there are a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of students, what I've seen in trends, having talked to university students from around the world and having brought some of them into my school, and some of the trends I've seen in youngsters who are trying to break into the industry. One, I would say that there's an incredible amount of impatience. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the social media / mobile phone world that we've now entered into, where a lot of youngsters think that, oh, I'll just draw for a year and I'll break into the industry, or 2 years and I'll break into the industry. The reality is not that. The reality is you have to think about working in entertainment with art, just like any other degree or anything you would study as a serious trade skill, because it takes a long time to get good at it. That's why you get paid so much. So I would say to you, if you're starting out or if you're in your first year at the school or anything like that, just have a little bit of perspective. If someone like your parents is really grilling you and being like, why aren't you a professional yet? And it's only been a year, just remind them, hey, doctors go to school for 8 years before they're even allowed to enter a hospital as an internship kind of thing. So what are you talking about, right? Like, I'm entering a very specialized field. I need the patience and understanding to, number one, pay for it. Number two, get in and work on my skills so that I can get good, right? The other thing is, of course, I see a lot of students not understanding just that basic concept, not only from the point of view of perspective when it comes to, how long it takes to break in or what you need to do, but also from the perspective of sacrifice. Like, you have to treat your artwork, if you want to work as a professional, you have to treat your artwork a little bit more like a profession, right? You have to actually sacrifice a little bit of time, put those video games away, put all of the dopamine hits away, and really focus on your studies and kind of create a schedule for yourself. If you're working with me at 101 Art School, currently or in the future, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and talk to me about this stuff. I love talking about it, and I'll help you with defeating all of those baddies, because I've had to do it for myself and I'm pretty good at it now, I think. Obviously, you can never eliminate everything all the time, but you can definitely take steps towards focus, right? And how to do that effectively and essentially level up much faster. So the other thing I wanted to mention about trends I've seen in students this year has been this idea that a lot of people come into art thinking, I'll just slap some paint down, I'll just draw this thing, and then I'll become a professional, and then everything will be fine. The reality of art, it's a really weird existential reality that you're actually working with a mental game and you're working with an emotional game. And when you understand that there is a connection there, that your emotions and your mental have to be tied, synchronized, and balanced in order to become a great artist, you're going to move ahead a lot faster and a lot more confidently. What I saw this year was a couple students really struggling with the mental, emotional, specifically the emotional side of producing artwork as a profession or at a high caliber. And really struggling with like, oh my gosh, this first thing I drew wasn't great. Well, yeah, that's part of the journey. You have to accept it. You have to let go of perfection. You have to understand that growth happens incrementally, right? And as you progress and you work at something, it's hard, it's difficult, it's soul crushing, right? But every time you push through, you get better and better and better, to the point where it becomes a bit more instinct, a little bit more fun, a little bit more free. And you actually look forward to creating these things as a professional, right? So emotional games, super important. So that being said, another thing I saw tied to that actually is this idea of just being consistent with your work, following through on just putting one step in front of the other, not taking a leap of 4 steps or being frustrated that you can't take a leap of 10, or you try 10 and then you get disappointed with yourself. No. The best way to learn and the best way to improve is consistency over intention, right? You just move one step in front of the other, and when you fall back, it's cool. You're just going to take that step forward again and you're going to be absolutely fine. All right, so when you have that mentality, it'll take a little longer, but it's the best road, right? As opposed to jumping ahead and jumping all over the place where you get really screwed. That doesn't work. So yeah, I would just say consistency over intention, right? So by the way, I'm looking at some notes here because I've taken some notes in order to deliver as much information from my year to you guys as possible, and I hope some of this is useful to you. So 101 Art School 2021, I'm going to talk a little bit about the future, what's going to be happening next year. So right off the bat, I haven't signed anything, but I'll be working from January to the end of March on another animation project. So I have a funny feeling it's going to be a feature film. I don't know yet. It's too early. Some people have just booked me in. But I'm going to be working on that very part-time. So it's almost like less than half a day of my work, right? The rest of my time is going to be divided into building the school and building the marketing. Okay, so that being said, beginning of next year, there's a bit of a revenue injection into the school with new students signing up, which is absolutely amazing because obviously as cash comes in, I get to take that money and spend it towards things like marketing, which is going to expand the school even more. And by the way, you guys may be enrolled with school and busy learning through me, but I'm actually enrolled with a business school and I'm learning through them. So I have every intention to expand 101 Art School from a business point of view and from an artistic point of view, and from bringing guests in and marketing and just expanding, right? But I never want to lose that personal touch of the brand, right? Which is 101, right? So no matter what happens in the future, you guys will always have that. And that's been my core intention with the school, because I believe that's the best way to learn, is to actually have a master show you from beginning to end how to complete something right. And if there's something I can't do, I'm going to bring someone else in who can do it and show you how to do it. Okay, so that's really important to me. So next year, I'll be working on marketing. I'll also be working on the workshops, bringing people in. I'll also be doing demos. There will be a lot more visual library and design theory type videos that'll be going up on YouTube. I'm thinking about doing a sort of just draw series, which could be really fun. There's a bunch of interviews I still want to do with artists who have been way too busy at the end of this year. Again, entertainment business going crazy. I want to bring them in. I've got some really hardcore guys, like the best ZBrush artist in the world. I know him personally, which is really exciting, and I can't wait to bring him in. I also have a female artist who I haven't been able to find a decent one to interview. So if you guys have any suggestions, please email me. I've been trying my hardest, and I finally found one, but it's hard to kind of pull that in and make it work, right? So I also have some really hardcore great artists from places like Riot Games coming in to do some more talks, maybe even a demo, which would be absolutely amazing, but we'll see. I have 3 artists lined up to do demos. I won't say who just yet. It's a bit of a surprise. They're really great though. I also have a bunch of short courses in the works that are going to be released next year as bonuses to the first year at 101 Art School. This will include a tutorial called Managing Money for Artists. This is something I think all artists have no financial education, and so this is something I've wanted to do for a while. It's something I've been incredibly interested in, and in fact, I'm already thinking of guests to bring in on that. I also want to complete a Loomis head drawing tutorial. One of the things that's missing from the third term at our school is a deeper dive into head design and drawing. And that's something I want to dive into using the Loomis method because it is the one I like the most. And it's going to be a lot of fun and pretty in-depth. And then I would like to do a course on career development for digital artists. It's going to be a 6-part series for artists to understand how to go from being an absolute amateur into a seasoned professional / art director, right? So I've seen it all. I've been in every position up until that point, and I want to show you guys what that looks like and how you can progress your career from when you get your first job to your second job, third job, etc., and how to market yourself, how to build yourself as a brand, how to display things. It's going to be a really amazing course, but it's one of those things that artists don't get exposed to, and they don't really know the journey, and they don't think ahead of time in terms of how to actually accomplish that stuff. So that's going to be something on the cards. At the end of the first year at 101 Art School, one of the things I wanted to introduce that I didn't have the space or time to do was an introduction to Blender as a course. Now, this is something I felt a lot more strongly about this year. I'm not a Blender artist, but I've been teaching myself Blender in order to teach it to you guys because Blender is fast becoming an industry standard. Number one, it's free. Number two, it allows you to produce concept art and any kind of illustration art at a pretty amazing pace, and it has a lot of powerful tools, and I feel like more and more artists are using it these days to the point where it is, like I said, becoming a bit more standard. So from my point of view at 101, I want to make sure that when you guys learn the fundamentals, you're learning every single skill set that's going to set you up for the most success possible while you're building your portfolio. Speaking of which, next year I'm going to start planning out the Portfolio Accelerator course, which is going to be the second year at 101 Art School. I'm already working with a pioneering student who's going to be taking it and helping me test it. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be super challenging, and it's going to be exciting. So the idea is, of course, in 1 year, we build an insane portfolio that allows you to break into the industry, right? That is the ultimate goal of it, is to get you that job. So there are no guarantees in this industry, like whether or not you get a job or not. I can't promise you that. No one can. Any school that does, obviously, I've seen schools crumble under the pressure of trying to promise that to their students, right? Some do if they're very elite and you're paying a lot of money and you're really, really sacrificing a lot of, personal time and all of that stuff in order to get very, very good. But in general, that's something we are trying to help you guys with. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal, right? We're not just trying to learn to get good at art. We want to use that art and make money from it, right? So that's very important for me. So that's about it for now. I can't think of anything else. If I do, I'll probably attach it now to the end of this video. But if you guys have any questions about the school, where we're headed, what we're going to be doing, what the courses are like, if you want to try the school out, absolutely, come talk to me, email me, find out. The first 30 days are money back guaranteed, so you don't actually lose anything. You can just try it out. And of course, I hope to see a lot of you guys join up next year because it's expanding. The course itself has been tested now by a lot of students. I think it's extremely powerful. And again, if you're one of my students, I just want to thank you guys so much for your patronage, because without you, this journey of building the school wouldn't have come this far. And I'm truly humbled that you've believed in the product and you've seen the results and that you want to continue with me. And I just want to say thank you so much, guys. It's your dedication and your hard work that makes this expand. And obviously, I'm going to be good to you back, right? I'm going to give you guys as much of my world and what I can as possible, and help you break into this industry and be a kick-ass artist, right? So thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a great Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. And I hope you have an incredible 2021. Don't hold your breath entirely for how awesome it's going to be. I don't know how long this virus is going to last, but absolutely have a great time. Keep arting, right? So thank you so much, guys. Take care.